Good day at the office. Kind of got the job done quite early.
Yeah, the guys started well. We turned the ball over the very first ruck, but apart from that, yeah, like we settled into the game okay. You know, obviously after that initial whatever it was 5 or 6 minutes, but good try off sort of transition, yeah, like had a good sort of dominant period. I guess scored some good tries in the first half, and generally speaking, like got the job done as you say. Like it's an unusual dynamic as we know. You know, because of last week after the game, like it's not forcing the team to chase the game, so you know, obviously it's very tight margin going into the game, and it's knockout rugby today, so definitely makes it a bit easier for everybody watching the game when the guys could have built a bit of a lead. So a bit disjointed, I thought, the second half, a lot of changes from both teams, a bit of disruption as well, as we know, so it lost a bit of its rhythm, but so we concede a couple of tries, score a couple as well. So, but anyway, like as you say, it's on to the next one really. Like it's job done, and yeah, nobody looks back on these games.
What pleased you most from kind of a good all-around performance? What pleased you most? What stood out for you?
Just better intent, I think, across the board. Better accuracy, I think, when we got into good positions as well. You know, so it's that clinical piece. You know, we were just a little bit off last week, I think it's fair to say. So, you know, the players there, everyone's a bit just frustrated with how we went. Some good patches of play, but we're just not all coming together. And just the importance of just everyone getting their jobs right. You know, particularly you're away from home, vociferous crowd, all the rest. Like you need to make sure you're very accurate in everything you do, and that's not just 11 or 12 players. It's all 15. So. You know, we worked on that, you know, that bit of cohesion, and it's a challenge, as we know, like coming off the Six Nations. You know, we've had a group that have worked very hard, you know, during a lot of the league games, like we talked about, because I said, you know, when we came back, like there was those 9 games 9 weeks where there's 5 Six Nations games. Reality is we had 9 games in the league during those 9 weeks, 7 games in the league during those 9 weeks. So it's just trying to get the groups working together now. So. Yeah, no, but the guys have applied themselves well. There was plenty to work on week to week. So I think that's important. We just have that mindset now over the next while, because we all want to be involved in these knockout games. But if you don't get your stuff right in the day, it's over, and you've got a couple of free weekends on your hands. So we just need to make sure we get everything right now. There's not much margin for error, you know, particularly when it comes to European knockout games.
Jack Conan, was that just precautionary? He got some treatment and then he came off?
Yeah, you see, he just got a bit of a bang in his back, so you know, so just more in his neck. So yeah, could have kept him out there for longer, but anyway, precautionary. So we see how that settles down.
Leo, James obviously scored 4 tries, but he's involved in plenty of other brilliant moments. He seems to have kind of gone to another level and haven't had a quite tough experience with Ireland. Is that what you've seen from him over the last year or so?
Yeah, he put in a good week this week, James. You know, like there's always bits in everyone's game, I guess, to improve upon, and yeah, like he's very talented, as we know. You know, and when he really applies himself, he's as good as anyone there is out there. So he worked hard this week, and you know, you see the rewards that he got off the back of that. So you know, some good play for some of his tries, but you know, he brings sort of a different level in terms of, you know, the power that he has. You know, in contact, but it's a skill of, you know, that he's able to manage contact on his terms as well. So, you know, when we signed James, we saw that back in his time in New Zealand with the Chiefs, and he's here a long time now. It's amazing to think what the length of time he is here. But yeah, he's a colourful character, James, as we know. So it was great to see him go well over the last couple of weeks as well.
He hasn't changed all in terms of being that colourful guy. He's obviously a bit more professionally set himself, but
yeah, and that's the thing. Like it's for all the players, not just James. It's you know, like what's our job is trying to get the best out of the players so they like maximise their potential. And you know, he's bucket loads of potential. So it's just making sure that we're working with him, like and to get the best out of him, because that's what everyone wants to see. I'm sure that's what James wants as well. So you know, we recognise the special talents that he has. So just making sure that we try to get the best out of him on a week-to-week basis. But he's no different than any of the other guys. So it's Caelan sitting beside me here will pick a few parts of Caelan apart to try and get the best out of him as well. And that's the challenge, like it's the environment is, there's good positive pressure in the environment because, there's good competition for places. When Jimmy got his 4 tries away in Bath as an example. I thought Tommy O'Brien was excellent in the Connacht game a couple of weeks ago. Then had a little bit of a niggle that he was managed similar to Rory Loughlin. So the competition in the back three is good, and that competition is a positive thing because the lads know they need to play well. Because if they don't play well, someone is there ready to step into their place in the team. So that's a positive piece.
Thank you.
The overall score was 80 points to 41. Is that more a realistic situation of where Connacht are and where Leinster are? Because frankly, you looked in a different class out there today, apart from the first 5 minutes.
I thought Connacht did stretch us again. Their attack is good. They play with good intensity. They played to the end. Obviously, got a couple of tries in the last 15 minutes. They had a couple of disruptions, as we know, with the guard during the course of the game, which makes things challenging. So, we were in this room yesterday talking about that emotional control piece. You see it across the board. I was watching the Blues against the Crusaders earlier on this morning, and Crusaders have a yellow card and a red card, and they're just pivotal moments in games now. So that control bit is massively important. There's the technique piece involved as well in the contact area, again, that we discussed yesterday. So again, we're not getting too bogged down by in terms of what you've asked the question was. For us now, just getting ourselves ready for the next challenge. So we'll watch my old team, Leicester Tigers, against Claremont, which is coached by one of our former coaches, John O'Gibbs. So we'll see how that game goes tomorrow. Obviously, Leicester are very much in the driving seat at the minute, so we'll turn our attention in terms of our European attention to who comes out of that. In the short term, obviously we've a nice little trip down to South Africa over the next couple of weeks to occupy our minds, which would be a great opportunity for the guys that go down there.
How difficult do you think South Africa is going to be? There's only been one Northern Hemisphere team, Edinburgh, win. Ulster probably felt they won their game, but it's not an easy place to go. No. Well,
we knew from before, obviously, the trips that we had. We were one of the first teams. I think we were the very first team down there. So we were the first team to lose down to Cheetahs, if you remember. It's tough going down there, yeah, for sure. It's very, very alien in terms of surrounds. But yeah, it makes it special as well. These 4 teams, as I grew up as a kid watching all these 4 teams, and understand the tradition that they have. So we're down to Durban. It'll be my first time there. Then we're across to Cape Town to play the Stormers the week after. It's going to be a great challenge for our guys. Against quality teams. First up, we have the Sharks, and some of the power that they have in their team. So for our guys, particularly around the set piece battle, there's going to be great learning in it. We talked about over the years in terms of once you get to the pointy end of Europe, you come up against the bigger teams, and in terms of South African teams coming into the URC, that's a real positive because they bring just a different dynamic, particularly around that set piece part of the game. So it's great testing ourselves, different environment and all the rest.
Sorry, Caelan, what did you think was the difference in Leinster's performance today as distinct from last week?
Some of our accuracies, like Leo alluded to there, when we got opportunities in their 22 in the right areas, we converted more often than not. Whereas last week, there's probably countless times where we were 5 metres out, 10 metres out and didn't convert, and that gives them life and belief and gets their crowd in behind. It was obviously a pretty hostile place last week. But we respect Connacht massively, and we know how good they are, and we saw that last week. We talked a little bit this week about showing them our best version and showing our home crowd how good we can be, which we saw in parts. Definitely not a full 80-minute performance. Probably the first 20 of that second half we were a little bit off. Not as ruthless as we'd like to be, and letting them conceding 2 tries to them, which is a little bit disappointing. But turn the focus now to the next couple of weeks in South Africa and the quarter-final then after that. So yeah, exciting times.
And how were you when you play about the whole attitude to discipline and cards and that, and how important it is not to get involved in where you could be issued with a card?
Yeah, the current climate, like tackle tech is huge, isn't it? It's been a work on for me over the last while, just trying to get my height right, both from a technical point of view in terms of winning the game line, but also discipline and trying to avoid the threat of getting a yellow or red and having our team under pressure. So yeah, we've spoken about it quite a lot. We've got Dennis Leamy doing some great work in that area, and yeah, guys are pretty on top of it.